Welcome back the rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Washington quarters and different condition quarter dollars. But not just any coins, we're talking about the ones that sold for thousands of dollars at auction, so let's get started. First up, the 1979 silver Washington quarter dollar in circulated fine condition, particularly the large date variety without a mint mark, holds a significant place in both U.S. numismatic history and today's coin market. To fully understand its value, we need to dive into its historical context and why this specific coin has garnered so much attention from collectors. The Washington quarter itself was introduced in 1932, designed by John Flanagan. The obverse features a portrait of George Washington, America's first president, symbolizing the nation's deep respect for its heritage. On the reverse, a bald eagle, holding an olive branch and arrows, is depicted, symbolizing peace and strength. Over the years, the design of the Washington quarter has remained largely unchanged, except for occasional adjustments to the reverse or commemorative issues. By 1979, the U.S. Mint was already well into producing high volumes of quarters for circulation. This coin, however, stands out due to a specific variant known as the large date. The difference between the large and small date coins of 1979 comes down to the size of the digits on the obverse side. In particular, the large date variety has the 9s and 7s in the date, appearing much larger than those on the small date coins. This subtle design difference has become a key identification point for collectors. The absence of a mint mark is another significant feature of this coin. In 1979, the U.S. Mint was still producing coins in high volumes, and the mint mark was used to indicate where a coin was struck. Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. The 1979 Washington quarter, struck in Philadelphia with no mint mark, is often considered more desirable by collectors due to its rarity and the mint's production process during that time. While the Denver and San Francisco mints were producing significant numbers of coins, the absence of a mint mark on the Philadelphia strikes makes these coins rarer in certain conditions. The 1979 large date quarter without a mint mark in circulated fine condition has increased in value due to various factors, including its rarity and well-preserved condition and collector demand for unique varieties. Although many coins were minted, finding a 1979 large date in fine condition can be difficult due to wear and tear over the years. Circulated fine condition typically means the coin shows moderate signs of wear, but the details of the design remain clearly visible. As such, the 1979 large date without a mint mark in this condition is an appealing option for collectors who want a piece of U.S. history without paying the premium for coins in mint or uncirculated condition. In today's market, the value of a 1979 large date Washington quarter without a mint mark in circulated fine condition has surged, with recent auction prices often reaching upward of $50,000, depending on the specific coin's level of wear and demand. This price may fluctuate based on market trends, collector interest, and the rarity of individual coins, but overall, this coin represents a solid investment for those looking to add a valuable piece to their collection. The coin's value is not only driven by its rarity, but also by the ongoing interest in the Washington Quarter series as a whole. Washington quarters from various years, especially those with unique features like the 1979 large date, are consistently sought after by collectors. The historical significance of the coin, the symbolism of Washington's portrait, and its place in the broader context of U.S. coinage make it a coveted item in auctions and private collections alike. Next up, we have the 1990 silver Washington quarter dollar with a large date and the D mint mark. While the 1990 Washington quarter isn't as old as the 1979 coin we just discussed, it holds a unique place in the market due to its production year, mint mark, and the continuing demand for well-preserved quarters from the 1990s. The Washington quarter, as mentioned earlier, was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. The design has remained largely the same, with only occasional updates, and the quarter has undergone various changes in series over the years. By the time 1990 came around, the quarter had transitioned through several different series, including the 90% silver coins from the earlier years and the copper nickel-clad versions used in modern circulation. For the 1990 quarter, A major design feature that collectors watch out for is the large date variety. Similar to the 1979 quarter, the 1990 Washington quarter also had a variety of large and small date coins. The large date variety features larger digits in the year 1990 than the small date coins, making it stand out as a distinct variety. This difference is subtle but important to collectors looking for specific varieties to complete their sets. The presence of the D mint mark is another defining characteristic of this coin. Mint marks are used to denote the location where the coin was struck. In the case of the 1990 Washington quarter, the D mint mark indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. Coins with the D mint mark are often seen as more common than those struck at the Philadelphia Mint, especially for certain years. However, the D mint quarters from the 1990s, particularly the large date variety, remain highly sought after due to their interesting design and collector interest in completing sets from this era. The 1990 Washington quarter with the D mint mark in circulated condition holds a distinct place in today's auction market. While it may not be as rare or valuable as some other coins from earlier years, it is still a favorite among collectors who appreciate its design and historical significance. In circulated condition, the coin typically shows signs of wear but still retains much of the detail in its design. The obverse features the iconic portrait of George Washington, and the reverse displays the image of an eagle perched on an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing the peace and strength of the United States. Collectors are drawn to the 1990 quarter, not just for its design, but also for its position in the broader context of U.S. coinage history. The 1990s marked an era when many coin designs were being altered or retired in favor of new series and commemorative issues. As such, the 1990 Washington quarter is often seen as a bridge between the older traditional designs and the newer, more modern commemorative series that began to emerge in the following decades. In terms of market value, the 1990 Washington quarter with the D mint mark in circulated condition has been fetching prices in the range of $36,000 in most auctions. This price can fluctuate depending on the specific condition of the coin, the quality of its strike, and the current market demand for coins from this era. While the 1990 quarter might not command the astronomical prices of more famous coins, it is still a solid investment for collectors looking to add a piece from this particular decade. Next up, let's begin with the 1967 large date without a mint mark. This coin holds immense appeal for those who study U.S. coins because of its rarity, the conditions under which it was struck, and the factors influencing its value today. The Washington quarter dollar, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, has seen numerous changes in design over the years. Initially designed by artist John Flanagan, the obverse of the Washington quarter features a profile of Washington's bust, while the reverse portrays an eagle. This design has endured, though minor changes and adjustments have occurred through the years. In 1967, the Washington quarter retained the iconic design, but with a twist. This was the era when coinage underwent several changes due to the ongoing economic pressures in the U.S., including rising silver prices. The United States Mint was still producing quarters from 90% silver up until 1964, but by 1965, the composition changed to a copper nickel clad, meaning the 1967 quarters were no longer silver. However, the collector's market still holds silver-era coins like the 1967 Washington quarter in high regard. One of the standout features of the 1967 Washington quarter is the large date version. This refers to the size and style of the numbers on the coin, specifically the year 1967. The large date is differentiated from the smaller date version produced for the same year. While the difference is subtle, it's significant to collectors who specialize in Washington quarters. When it comes to mint marks, the 1967 large date is of particular interest because it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins without mint marks. Hence, it is called without mint mark and is one of the defining factors in determining its market value. Despite being in good condition, the 1967 large date Washington quarter without a mint mark can still fetch impressive prices at auction, particularly when found in good to excellent condition. As of today, coins in good condition can go for several $100s, depending on the specific details of the auction and the bidder pool. The demand for Washington quarters, particularly those from the 1960s era, remains high due to a combination of collector interest, historical significance, and the fact that these coins were part of a transitional period in U.S. coinage. Collectors of Washington quarters are often drawn to the 1967 large date without a mint mark because it represents a rare moment in the series. Not only is it part of a transitional era where the U.S. Mint was still shifting from silver to clad coinage, but it is also one of the last of the silver quarters to have been minted, making it an important piece in U.S. numismatic history. The mintage of the 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark was substantial, but this does not mean the coin is easy to find in top-quality condition. Many of these coins saw heavy circulation, and thus they were subject to wear and tear, which lowers their grade. As a result, finding a coin in good or better condition is rare, and this is why these coins continue to climb in value over time. The auction market has seen increased demand for such coins, particularly for those in original, unaltered condition, which further pushes their value. There are a few key reasons collectors are interested in this coin. First, the 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark holds historical value as part of the United States silver coinage history. Its significance as part of the last years of full silver quarters has only increased as time has passed. Additionally, its relative rarity and higher quality grades contributes to its demand. Coins in good condition are still attractive to many collectors who value not only the coin's design and composition, but also the nostalgia and historical importance they represent. Now, let's move on to the 1982 Washington quarter with a large date and the D-era mint mark. The 1982 Washington quarter was minted during an era of intense economic inflation, rising production costs, and a shift in coin composition that began back in the 1960s. This was the year the U.S. Mint produced a variety of quarter designs with significant differences in mintage and production errors. The most important of these for collectors is the large date with a D-era mint mark. In 1982, the U.S. Mint struck quarters with both small and large dates. The difference is seen in the size and positioning of the numbers 1982 on the coin's obverse, and while the small date variety is more common, the large date has drawn considerable attention in the collector community. What makes the 1982 large date with the D era particularly unique is the minting flaw, which occurred when a batch of quarters was struck with the incorrect mint mark. Most 1982 quarters struck at the Denver Mint would carry a D mint mark, but due to an error, some quarters were released with a double die, resulting in a mint mark error that has since been identified as a valuable mistake. While the 1982 large date with a D-era mint mark is not as rare as some other error coins, it holds value because of its unique history. For many collectors, coins with minting errors are desirable for their rarity, and the story they tell about the imperfections of the U.S. Mint's production processes. Mint errors can increase the value of a coin exponentially, especially when the error is both noticeable and significant, as in the case of the D error on the 1982 Washington quarter. Collectors are often drawn to this coin because of its unusual features. Not only does it represent a specific design variation, the large date, but it also showcases the specific flaw of the D-era mint mark, which adds a layer of intrigue and uniqueness. This coin is especially attractive to numismatists who specialize in error coins or who seek to complete their Washington quarter collection with these rare and significant varieties. The market value for the 1982 Washington quarter with the D-era mint mark has fluctuated over the years, but has generally remained high due to the coin's historical significance and its popularity among collectors of error coins. In circulated condition, the coin can fetch prices in the range of hundreds of dollars at auction, depending on the quality and demand at the time of sale. Another factor contributing to its value is the relatively low mintage of this error coin compared to other regular issue quarters from the same year. While the overall mintage of 1982 Washington quarters was substantial, the error versions are far less common. Additionally, the fact that they were not discovered until years after their release further adds to their allure for collectors, who relish the opportunity to find such anomalies in their collections. Next up, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar coin, especially the one with the D-era mint mark, is a highly sought-after item in the world of numismatics. This coin features not just a significant design, but also an intriguing error that elevates its desirability among collectors. To truly understand its value and what makes it special, we have to take a deep dive into its historical background, its mintage numbers, the features of the coin, and why the D-mint mark error adds such unique value. The Washington quarter dollar was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington on the bicentennial of his birth. Since then, it has gone through various design changes, and in 1980, it was part of a series that maintained the classic obverse and reverse designs that were introduced in 1980-1932. The obverse features a profile of George Washington, while the reverse showcases an eagle with an olive branch, a symbol of peace, and arrows, symbolizing readiness for war. By the time the 1980 issue was minted, Washington quarters had already become a part of the everyday currency in the U.S. But the 1980 coin remains significant due to its distinctive features and errors. In 1980, the United States Mint issued over 600 million Washington quarters, but it was the ones minted at the Denver Mint that became the subject of controversy. A small minting error involving the D mint mark, a symbol of coins minted in Denver, would make these coins extraordinarily rare and valuable. The design of the 1980 Washington quarter is iconic, with its traditional obverse and reverse patterns. The obverse, designed by John Flanagan, features a bust of George Washington. The date 1980 is prominently displayed below the bust, and the word Liberty is inscribed along the top. The reverse of the coin showcases an eagle perched on an olive branch with United States of America and E pluribus unum inscribed around it. The coin also includes the words quarter dollar, representing its value. The mint mark, which is usually placed to the right of the eagle on the reverse, is where the error occurred. For most coins, the mint mark is placed correctly, either as a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. However, for a specific subset of 1980 Washington quarters, the D mint mark was incorrectly positioned, resulting in a dramatic error. The mint mark was struck too high, causing the D to be placed on the Washington's cheek, rather than in its usual position on the reverse side of the coin. This error occurred in a batch of coins that were produced at the Denver Mint and has become one of the most highly prized varieties in the Washington quarter series. While the total mintage of Washington quarters in 1980 was exceptionally high, with over 600 million coins struck, only a small percentage of them featured the D mint mark error. This error is incredibly rare, and its scarcity is what makes the 1980 Washington quarter with the D mint mark error so valuable today. The vast majority of 1980 Washington quarters were struck correctly, meaning that the error coins are considered to be anomalies, making them stand out in the eyes of collectors. The mintage numbers for the 1980 Washington quarter with the D mint mark error are not entirely clear, but it's estimated that only 1,000 of these coins were ever released into circulation with the erroneous mint mark. Due to the rarity of the error, these coins command a premium price in the market, often fetching significantly higher prices than their non-error counterparts. The market value of the 1980 Washington quarter with the D error mint mark has seen substantial growth over the years, especially as more collectors become aware of its rarity and desirability. In circulated condition, the coin is worth significantly more than other 1980 Washington quarters. While a typical 1980 Washington quarter might only be worth its face value or slightly above, the 1980 coin with the D error mint mark can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction, depending on the coin's condition. The value of this coin is largely determined by its condition, rarity, and the error itself. In high-grade, uncirculated conditions, the coin's value skyrockets, with some specimens fetching over $10,000 or more at auction. Even in circulated condition, however, the coin still holds substantial value, with some selling for several $100s. The scarcity of the coin due to its minting error only serves to drive up demand, making it a highly coveted piece among collectors. Collector interest in the 1980 Washington quarter with the D mint mark error is robust, as this coin represents both an error in minting and a rare collectible. Many collectors of Washington quarters specifically seek out these error coins to add to their collections. Furthermore, The presence of the minting error makes this coin an attractive option for investors looking to capitalize on the appreciation in value over time.